Yeah. From the first word spoken to the last amen. Look, day one, I believe in the Father, maker of the heavens and the holler. Seen things unseen in the silence, whole world in his hands, that's balance. Light, land, oceans in order, skylines stretch past borders. Every breath, every law that's written came from the mind that isn't limited by minutes or distant. Feminine wisdom, perfect existence, one throne, no rival in the system. Alpha in the code, I listen. We believe, say it out loud. One God, one Son, one Spirit in the crowd. From the throne to the grave, then he rose in three. Whole church stand up, this is our creed. We believe, heart on sleeve. Every line in my soul like ink that bleed. From the first I believe to the last, amen. That's the truth we stand on. Say it again. Only one sin, true God, true flesh, that's intent. Born from a woman, promised in the womb, royal in the manger, glory in the gloom. Walked dust, felt hunger in the heat, love wore sandals in the street. Spoke life, storm, her wind froze, touch of his hand, blind eyes rose. For I say, took the blame, that's sentence. Cross on his back, that's penance. Laid in the grave, don't shut dark deep, third day, sun up, death fell asleep. Woo. Lifted up, backseated with the Father, all things under him, why bother? Running from grace when the gate wide, he'll come blazing, judge day, no size. We believe, hey. Say it out loud. One God, one Son, one Spirit in the crowd. From the throne to the grave, then he rose in three. Whole church stand up, this is our creed. We believe, heart on sleeve. Every line in my soul, I ain't that bleed. From the first I believe to the last, amen. That's the truth we stand on. Say it again. I believe in the Spirit, breathe in the lungs. Fire in the room when the praise gets sung. Oh yeah. Prophets writes on hearts, holy sets us apart. One church, one hope, one birth. Forgiveness reigning on this earth. Grace gonna crack when he calls our names. New life, new body, no shame. We believe, say it out loud. One God, one Son, one Spirit in a crowd. From the throne to the grave, then he rose in three. Whole church stand up, this is our creed. We believe, heart on sleeve. Every line in my soul like ink that bleeds. From the first I believe to the last, amen. That's the truth we stand on. Say it again.
Welcome to the Called to Defend live stream, where we are going to be talking about something really, really gay, Islam. I'm Caleb Elliott, and this is Josh Davis. Josh, how are you?
It is Zut month.
It is Al Zut month. Happy Al Zut month. Josh,
anywho,
last month.
No, I cannot. I have graduation for my. Oh, I'm frozen, aren't I?
Your audio is muffled. That's what I'm looking for.
What about now?
The camera's really grainy. That did not make it better.
What about now?
About the same.
Are you sure about that?
It is for me. I don't. Maybe it's not for them, and maybe it's my headphones or whatever. But
it might be your dumb headphones. We're also wearing different headphones today than you normally do.
Isn't it a month to do with Islam? Firstly, welcome back, Chaos. Been a long time, my dude.
I use your a little bit, like not this last one, but the one before that. I'm pretty sure.
Really? But no, June is as Ben Shapiro put it, June is the holiest month of the year, by which you mean that the most holes are used. And Muhammad's holes were certainly used on the night of Al-Zut. So that's what we mean by it is Al-Zut month. Very interesting things happening in the world today. Not just Pride Month, but also Mike Jones of Inspiring Philosophy going and sitting on a panel in Washington, D.C., the capital of the United States, to
How about
discuss
now?
whether Islam is compatible for the West. Sorry, one more time.
How about now?
A little better, but not great.
Okay, so
Like,
stream
you
your
can definitely understand what you're saying, but you're just, it sounds like you're in a bathroom, question mark.
StreamYard is doing something to my audio then, because everything's the same over here.
Maybe it's my headphones. They might be able to.
No, it's coming off funky.
There.
It's coming funky out there too.
No.
What about now?
About the same.
Any differences?
Nah, about the same.
That's just dumb. Oh. He wasn't ready for that. And of course, my camera just decided to reset out of nowhere too.
Audio sounds okay to me. Okay, so maybe it's my headphones then. Whoa.
Come on.
Yes.
Reset my camera.
See, that's
There
why
we go.
I don't think Chaos was around. He isn't aware of our soundboard now. We have a soundboard now.
Why are you gay?
Who says that I am gay? You are gay.
Brother, what's that? What's that, brother?
Fitting meme to play given what we are going to be talking about tonight. So the official video hasn't come out yet from Inspiring
You're saying like all the things I texted you.
Huh?
You're just saying everything that I texted you.
And I have been engrossed in the world of LDS. All right, my last 3 days have been just reading the Book of Mormon. Which, yes, to all the Mormons now who are going to say, "Well, you guys haven't read the Book of Mormon. You haven't yet." Now I have.
Actually, no one said that.
There were, well, no, because the conversation we had with the missionaries, they were like, "Have you guys actually read the Book of Mormon?" We're like, well, "No, we haven't read the whole thing."
Well, no, but they weren't asking like in a
No.
argument. They were just asking for perspective.
But my point being, I have now read the Book of Mormon, and that is, I'm not getting that time of my life back. I'll just say that.
Speaking of that, I know people have been emailing us. I know like at least 2 people have. I think there may be a few more. I'm not answering those until after this week. I have way too much I am trying to finish for my job right now. Before we get our break. So if I have not emailed you back and it's been a week, that is why. And you will not be hearing back from me until at the earliest Monday. Even then, I will be out of state with visiting my girlfriend. So even then, that is questionable if I'll answer that email in time. Yeah.
So Josh clearly demonstrating he's not gay, but we're here to talk about both Islam and the gay and compatibility with Western systems and values. How'd you like that segue?
Yeah, okay. So I texted Caleb this. Josh is like, I heard.
Completely unaware of this.
Huh?
I said I was completely unaware of this.
Yeah, so because the reason I know is because I had it pulled up on my computer on Tuesday, and a notification came down saying the IP was streaming. And then he rarely reposts on Instagram, and he had a story out today where he was dressed up really nice next to a seal, and then AP posted something, and he reposted saying that he's like in DC giving a talk, and I was like, What? When did this happen? So yeah, so Caleb and I were trying to figure out if we wanted to continue it, as I mistakenly called them J-Hos, really J-dubs.
You didn't react to my song that I sent you.
Because you sent that when my Discord's blocked.
I know.
And then I was at work when my phone was not blocked.
It's not my best work.
And then I was at work when Discord was not blocked anymore. So, anyways. So, Caleb has the videos coming out tomorrow. That was supposed to come out last week, but I got slammed with work, and so I couldn't edit anything. And then yesterday, all of the YouTubes just did not want to post anything that I was uploading. So everything's coming out today and tomorrow. That was supposed to be this week.
Nothing but professionalism. Oh,
that's not even professionalism. That's honestly me, one, prioritizing my job, because that's how I pay for my ability to do this, and two, that is an issue of YouTube not connecting with the files and stuff.
A skill issue.
No, it's YouTube. That's not me. Like, it actually gave me a notification saying it cannot upload right now because YouTube's having an upload problem. Anyways, so I saw this and I was like, he was like, we talk about this? Like, well, we could also talk about the fact that this happened. And so as Caleb said, the official video is not out yet, but apparently they are going to be releasing it. However, IP did do a stream where he talks about what went down. So I have that pulled up, and he has a couple clips from it. So we'll look at a couple of those. They're mostly like points that he makes, so we can at least see a little bit of the things he's done. There were clips actually that David Wood is editing in the background and sending him via Dropbox midstream to watch on the stream. Which was kind of fun. Caleb and I talked about this before in private, but David Wood's son was there with them, and they're next to each other. If you didn't think before that they were exactly alike, you see them together, you're like, holy crap, they're so much alike.
Yeah, no, dude, straight up Control-C, Control-V.
Yep, like, just with darker hair.
Yeah. And a deeper voice. That's it. Those are the only two differences.
Yeah. Well, we'll kind of look at this. We'll also maybe we'll watch the official video when it comes out. But I think more is going to be kind of like segueing to the point that next month, which is by the time I get back anyways, we'll be talking about Islam again in preparation for the conference that Caleb and I are going to. But this seemed kind of pertinent considering that he was in DC giving, he was on a panel. So I think I got into the right spot. I was originally on my other laptop. I think I saved it to where it should be set to go here. So he'll give a little, it'll load eventually. Go away, comments.
Why did I just see a comment that said kidnap Cora? And it didn't even spell Cora right.
Yeah, welcome to IP's comment section.
Okay, I don't think I've ever watched a Mike Jones live stream live, so
yeah, it's not him. It's
one or two back later, but
no, I'll throw. Sometimes I'll throw his or who's the other one? I'm blanking right now. Throw one of them on the background if I'm driving somewhere if they're live, just to kind of see what's going on. But he's been doing a lot more. Huh?
Is it God Logic?
Logic, not really as much. I'll probably go back and like see certain things. Lately, it's been like the same arguments. And I like God Logic, but there's times where it becomes more, here, let me show you how I decimated this guy, and less, and it's like, all right, I really don't need to see that. It's not really of value to me. Big John Steele actually made a whole video on that issue about apologetics, how it's become so much of kind of like the Dawa Bros, where it's just like clipping, where like, hey, look, I decimated this guy, and it's like, all right, but at what point do we need to keep showing the same point being decimated, or like what is really the point here? I know like it draws attention, but at what point is the ministry? I'm not trying to call it God Logic for this, but it's just like, at what point though? What point is the ministry more about dunking on people and and instead of capturing thoughts and trying to bring them back to Christ.
Hey, that's the shirt I'm wearing.
I know, I made that one for you with that in mind. Anyways, so I think I got to the right spot. We'll hear a little bit about what went down. I was a panel that he was on. Follow him, explain more, and then we can get to a couple of the clips where he kind of gives from his presentation. And yes, someone did dress up in the back, and they did call her.
I noticed that.
Yeah,
I honestly didn't even notice that. That was just a mysterious black thing in the background. I mean, I did not realize that was full burqa.
Oh yeah, they call her a ninja.
Turn on do not disturb. There. All right, there we go. Okay. Anyway.
He just takes over.
If I got something to say, I'll tell you. Scoot your turkey.
Sit over there on the corner. Go like this.
I got invited to speak
There
on
you go.
a panel. Let me show you guys what happened because I have the graphic somewhere in here. Here it is.
You got the graphic of bloodshed?
The graphics of the what?
The bloodshed.
Oh God,
Massacre.
dude. So it was
It was
supposed
bad.
to be 3 Muslims versus 3 like people that are anti-Islam, and I was one of them. It ended up being 3 on 2 because one of the guys who was supposed to be on my side got sick. But this is what we were doing here in the Capitol. The Action Institute put on, is Islam compatible with the U.S. Constitution at the Rayburn House building today? And yeah, so I ended up debating 3 Muslims on this whole issue because it was me and a guy named Corey Walker who was pretty intelligent but didn't really kind of engage in the back and forth with me. So it ended up being like me versus 3 Muslims. And then all of these losers showed up, these weird groupies came out of Ohio, Virginia, Maryland. What are you talking about over here?
He wants to cuddle up next to my cat.
Exactly. So.
With the ninja, it's like, oh,
I was telling David to climb up there like a ninja.
I can barely see him back there.
I know, I was hidden.
So we're going to try to get some clips from that. We were like hectically running around trying to get footage. Waiting on David to figure out what he's doing over there with the footage.
It says it's sent. I don't know what you want.
Yeah, it says it's sent.
Anyways, so
Lots of banter.
as I said, yes. As I said, he was at this panel that he was invited to. Now, what's interesting, we won't play this part. I'll actually kind of look for the first actual clip. But they were at this panel. He was supposed to be debating in front of like all these people regarding whether Islam is, in his stream, he put it as if it's compatible with the West, but it was supposed to be more like dealing with the Constitution and like, is it really gonna be like fit within the United States? And then what's interesting is, as I was watching the stream, a thing that they mentioned was that they made it very clear that they were told not to promote any of it, because not to promote that they were doing this, because they didn't want a bunch of Muslims to show up in the event something went down. A bunch of Muslims showed up anyways because the Muslim side promoted this to their peers, but the Christians and the anti-Muslims, as like the side was apparently called, kept it to themselves. And so that's why like this was just up out of nowhere until like the day of. Like this is when he streamed this, it was like I think the night after. And so Elle over here recorded some stuff, David had recording stuff, but they were also chastised for trying to record stuff, but the Muslims weren't, apparently. Or the Muslims were trying to chastise them for recording because they didn't want to be proven wrong. And then IP apparently quoted the Quran, and the sheikhs got mad at him for quoting the Quran and proving his point that it is not compatible, like child marriage.
I do appreciate that you're calling it the Quran. I do appreciate that.
When you hear it enough times, you just kind of adapt to the other pronunciation of it.
Yes, the clearly Quran.
The clearly Quran. But that's kind of where we're at right now. With this, we're still waiting for more official stuff, and you can watch the rest of the stream, but a lot of it is banter. But I thought we could look at some of the clips that he has from the points that he was making and stuff, and I think that might open up some conversations. I think this weirdly, not in the same way, but in this weird sense, it is sort of related because it does deal with the government in what the government promotes and allows. And now you can get into, there's people who go to Christian nationalism. I know we have people in our Discord, which by the way, you should go join that. There's people who do affirm that. There's people who are not sold on it. There's people in the middle. And so, people will say like, this should be outlawed. This shouldn't be. This is the kind of law we should follow. All these kinds of things. And we can get into those conversations. Those conversations don't really interest me in terms of Christian nationalism. The pros and cons for it. They're not that. It's kind of like, I will do what I can for the position that I hold and for the movement of the kingdom, but in the end, this is the government I live under, so I make do regardless with whatever I have. But the idea, like, because this month is this month is celebrating as Caleb was talking about before, Pride Month, which is kind of like celebrating making it legal for LGBT relations in terms of marriage, and it being seen, at least in the government's eyes, as quote unquote legitimate marriage in some capacity. But then also you have Muslims who are trying to make more push within the country, especially as they're slowly trying to get more and more involved and have a stronger presence. New York City is kind of helping with that, at least on that front, with Mamdani kind of like promoting them all over the place, and some other stuff. But anyways, it's just kind of an interesting question and topic to kind of think through, of the things that are trying to be pushed either by the people themselves or by people who are supporting them. Certain things to be made legal or to be involved or be seen as compatible. And IP just had to quote the Quran to show that it wasn't compatible, and the sheikhs were mad at him for it. As every single person in that room has said. And so I'm looking forward to seeing that part in the video, just to kind of see what exactly did he say and like how they exactly responded. But here's a couple of clips, I think.
So this is the footage never before seen. We got some clips of this. Let me put this up here. The quick editing skills of Elle and David got this up.
Multiple things, but pretty good quality, I think.
So this guy over here on the end is the sheikh who was like, yeah, if Pakistan wants to kill apostates, let's good to go. And then this guy here was like the one complaining about how Islam is compatible with science. He went on a big rant about occasionalism.
I was very confused why he like started his opening statement or whatever with like, I know Islam has really held back from like scientific progress, and all the nations that have followed Islam have really like been dull in science, but it's okay because other people were dull in science too.
Yeah, I know we suck now, but other people used to suck also.
Yeah, and I know it's because it's like we've got a sketchy handle on rationalism, but it's all right, no big deal. Like he actually
didn't make any sense. I was like, this is nothing to do with the Constitution. Why are you here?
Yeah, that seems to be. They don't learn how to fallacies.
Anyway, let's get to the
No sense.
play the clip.
Thing, man.
Islam.
He tricked me. He pulled up the shared screen and then he didn't play it. Here we go.
Do you feel lied to?
I will say, though, I am on the opposing side today. I, as an American, am definitely concerned about the growing influence of Islam in the West. Feel as though the Muslims who presented today are really great people, but they do not represent mainstream Islamic thought. I think most Muslims around the world would agree with us that Islam is not compatible with the Constitution, but they would argue that it should be done away with and replaced with Sharia law. In fact, I became more interested in Islam. Let me tell you a bit about how I got interested in Islam. A Muslim online by the name of Daniel Hakikachu, he living here in America, he challenged me to debate the issue of child marriage. He wanted to argue in favor of such a practice, and his reasoning was that this is what Islam teaches. I think everyone should be concerned about the growing influence of Islam when Islamic influencers are arguing for child marriage.
Yeah, so that's how I started. I was like, let's just.
That's a very strong point to start with.
Yeah, no, came out
pretty
swinging
important
right there.
one.
Yeah, I mean, especially when the standard for morality in their religion marries a 6-year-old and then rapes her when she's 9. And yes, it's rape.
Yeah. Like
I used to just say sleep with. I've grown more strongly opposed to it. It's rape.
Yeah. But he comes out swinging here, and I think that it's interesting that, I didn't mean to play the one clip before, but it ties in well here as well. That it was a different debate. It was with Junior, but it was kind of doing a similar question of whether or not what's better for society, Christianity or Islam. And apparently, according to them at least, maybe they didn't actually say, maybe they're misremembering. So we'll probably not though. But they're saying the guys next to them were saying like, yeah, we've held back on science, but everyone else was like this before, and but this idea that Islam has not progressed much of society today. But then you also have Junior, who also even like unintentionally conceded that Islamic nations are not as educated and are more violent as compared to nations that have Christian values or something Christian focused, or at least something Christian related. And I think that's just kind of interesting to the point where he was going to get here with the child marriage issue, that if that is a really easy stand, that if your prophet, like the one who kind of like leads it all, is approving of this and is acting out this way, and people aren't really within your own religion, condemning it, and they're kind of at many times defending it and supporting it, really grossly, frequently, especially on X, then you really kind of start to see that this doesn't really fit the Constitution. It starts just like, it starts to get in some really sketchy waters, because you're promoting things that are already pretty disgusting and not really moral. But anyways, Caleb's gone apparently. Don't know where he went. BRB in like 2 minutes. I'm gonna guess that was when he sent it to me. Anyways, let's get this back up here. He might hear this. He might not. But let's keep rolling.
Supreme Court decisions. I'm like, I got to focus on what the Constitution teaches, but how do I get child marriage into this? I know. I'll just start with it and be like, that's how I got into Islam.
There you go.
Thanks, Daniel. Yes. So, yeah.
But the question before us today is whether or not Islam is compatible with the U.S. Constitution. We're not asking if Muslims can live in the U.S. or be U.S. citizens. We are specifically asking if what Islam teaches is compatible with the Constitution. And it's blatantly clear that it is not. There are many ways this can be pointed out. First, Islam does not have religious freedom as understood by U.S. law. For example, Surah 9:29 says, "Fight those who do not believe in Allah and the last day, nor comply with what Allah and his messenger have forbidden, nor embrace the religion of truth from among those who were given the scripture, until they pay the jizya, willingly submitting, fully humble."
All right. So, that is a pretty important thing. In fact, let me pull up just so we can all see it together. Constitution. Here we go. Let's see here. All right, so you mentioned that
you don't want the Constitution for that. You want the Bill of Rights. It's the First Amendment.
I know, but I was getting the Constitution up too.
All right.
I was just typing both at the same time, so I said the wrong one, but I was getting both up.
Gotcha.
All right. Thinking I don't know my United States documentation. What a ridiculous weirdo. All right.
What?
You. All right, so I'm making fun of you. Doesn't take much.
Business as usual.
Yep. Okay, so as Gabe mentioned.
Holy crap! Sorry, I just got flashbanged. But it's a flash of white on the screen.
Anyways.
I actually got to turn my brightness down.
So with Sharia law, especially within Surah, when I'm referring to like Surah 9, saying, kill the infidels, pay the jizya and all those things, that is establishing a government establishing a religion. Congress shall make no law respecting an establishment of religion. So obviously that's kind of against the Bill of Rights in the first front. They're supposed to be like this freedom of speech, nope, gotta tax them, gotta kill them, free to exercise, this and that. Nope. You can't do that. That's an important distinction right there when you're considering, whether or not automatic, when you're trying to think about whether it's compatible with the US, with the West, with the Constitution, Bill of Rights, all those things, like Sharia law automatically by itself kind of removes that possibility. Because now you're trying to establish a specific religion. And again, I know there's Christian nationalists who do think that we should go that way with Christianity. But we're talking about Islam right now. And if we're thinking about the Constitution and the Bill of Rights, that's not happening with Sharia law. That's not feasibly in line. In fact, that is very blatantly not in line, very much against the very ideas.
Right. And I think because to avoid us continuing to give the caveat of Christian nationalism, the question is not whether it would be a good or better system. The question is it compatible? Right. And so if we're looking at the First Amendment there, you look at every single check given, right? Because these are all checks on government power, right? Congress shall make no law. It's starting off with that idea of this is something that holds the government back, right? It prevents it from becoming tyrannical.
Right.
And the first one there is establishment of religion, because that's in large part what the founding of America as a colony was about, right? They come to America seeking freedom from the Anglican Church and the British Crown, the Puritans and the Quakers and such. So they're recognizing the roots. They're also recognizing that religion is the root of the other ideas, right? Because if you don't have religion, then free speech is simply some abstract concept with no real meaning, right? Because words have meaning, and where you derive the meaning of words from is from God, right? As He is the Word, He's the divine reason. Words have reason. So the point there being, religion is the linchpin for which all of these other rights are dependent upon. And so if you can't have that, right, you can't have the free establishment of religion, then you can't have the freedom of speech, right? Because speech in its principle is meant to be used to glorify and worship God. So if you can't not do that, if you cannot glorify and worship God, you have no speech. There's no telos behind your words. There's no actual reason or meaning. And then regarding to peaceably assemble, right now, we always consider that in light of like protesting, or sorry, the press is next, right? The press, written word, scriptures, right? So if you cannot write out your scriptures, if you cannot read your scriptures, if you cannot hand out Bibles, or even if you cannot hand out Qurans, then you can't, and then you don't actually have any sort of freedom. You don't have freedom of the press, right? So everything ties back to it, right? Peaceably assemble. We always think of that in terms of protest. Yes, but also a peaceable assembly is worship, right? Is the fellowship, is the gathering together of believers. Right? And then petition the government kind of falls in line with the idea of generally being able to take your concerns to church leadership, to eldership, and of course to God. So all of these principles are fundamentally built upon the establishment of religion, right? And there not being any sort of infringement thereon. So if first, I mean, obviously, if Islam were to violate any one of those, it would be incompatible. But the fact that it violates the first one, right, and that's immediately where Mike Jones goes to, because I think he understands if you violate this first one, this first tenet, the first thing they put out, then everything else is undermined already.
Yeah. Which is funny because it's the first one he goes to after he sneaks in child marriage. It's like, hey, real quick, let me just kind of throw something out there. Oh, by the way, let's get into the actual topic of the discussion today. It's like,
yeah,
all right, a little sneaky trick there. Might be poisoning the well a little bit, but I mean, it's warranted in that case.
Maybe.
We can see that the Quran commands Muslims to force Christians and Jews to pay a humiliating tax called the jizya, solely because of our religious identification. The justification for forcing this tax on the Jews and Christians is provided in the following verse. The quote, "The Jews say Ezra is the son of Allah, while the Christians say the Messiah is the son of Allah. Such are their baseless assertions, only parroting the words of earlier disbelievers. May Allah condemn them. How can they be deluded?"
You know the great thing about Surah 9, 29 to 30 is?
So yeah, the jizya. I heard that word so many times when we did Avery and Jake Brancatella's debate, because that was like a large portion of the debate was discussing the jizya.
Well, and it's fitting given the month we're in.
I know. I couldn't hear that word without thinking about that very issue. Every single time I was like, guys, can we please have another? I know it's Arabic. Can we please have another name for it? Please, please, please.
You know, I actually have the idea that Momo just misheard somebody and said jizz. Yeah. And from there, it just kind of stuck.
See, I don't know if I really I can't say that's probably too far gone, but or too far out there, but I don't really want to think about that.
That's fair.
But if I remember correctly, so there is I can't remember if it's a hadith. I think it's a hadith where it talks about how I think it's Jesus will come to abolish
Yes.
the jizya. Yeah.
So the Messiah will return. He will break the cross, abolish the jizya, and establish Sharia.
Yeah, and I can't remember the exact point of the debate, but they were debating something pretty key about that. And then Jake got hung up on something really minuscule in there, and it just kind of undermined the rest of his credibility because it was like Avery was trying to get to the point, but Jake was just focused on this minuscule thing that he was still wrong about. And I was like, why? Just you were wrong. just read your hadith. But the point being is that there's that tax. You know, if you're talking about this freedom to do X, Y, and Z, religion, press, all these things. If you're taxing them, that's not free. That is very much paying the government to do your religion.
Yeah.
Which, guys, like that's just literally not compatible at all.
No, it by definition is an infringement, right? Because taxes are essential, which people don't like to hear, but taxes are essential. However, they can be used, right? Like sanctions. Think about it that way. What is a sanction if not? Well, it could be a couple different things, but one method of sanctions is taxing, right? Tariffs are often used with sanctions, and tariffs are just specific taxes levied against political bodies. Sorry, we stepped into the world of politics. This is my wheelhouse.
I say that a lot.
What?
This is my wheelhouse.
I have a lot of wheelhouses. What do you want from me?
Can you have a lot of wheelhouses? Like, what is your wheelhouse? Like, what is the wheelhouse?
The wheelhouse?
Because at what point is it a wheelhouse and then a passion?
Well, I think passions can become wheelhouses.
I think they can be, but a wheelhouse seems to imply like this is like the thing. And then you have other things you might have passionate and you might think have strong thoughts about, but they're not like the thing.
Okay, so I have an 18-wheeler, and therefore I can have 18 wheelhouses.
You can fit more than one wheel into a house.
I refuse to put another wheel into a house.
So is it more like a dog house shape, like size?
It is no. It is a huge warehouse, and in the middle of it, there's just one wheel.
Why? Because that means it can fit more than one in there.
Yeah, exactly.
So
well, no. That way I can have all of this area for which I can have just this one wheel dedicated to.
But you don't use, which means that you have built
18.
up this big thing that you don't use, and therefore
I didn't say the warehouse was empty. I just said there's one wheel in the middle of it. I didn't say it was empty.
Well, what is in there to make it worthwhile?
Just files of information. And a wheel smacked. We are getting way off topic. The point here is, so taxes are used as infringements, right? They are used to prevent freedom of usually capital, but in this case, it would just be freedom of practice, right? If you eventually cannot pay the jizya, then they can imprison or kill you, right? So it's very much an infringing upon. And so, yeah, the jizya absolutely would be a First Amendment violation.
So like that first swing, already kind of shows, probably not compatible. Now, if you were to talk about whether it's compatible with the large West, like because England is in the West, but it doesn't hold to the Bill of Rights or the same.
Well, they
documents.
have their own modified, but yeah, they have their own not as good Bill of Rights. Yeah,
right. And some of
that's
the
not
other
like me. That's not me like trying to posterize England. That's just their Bill of Rights is much more restrictive on the people than America's is.
And you'd have to look at each of those different documents, like what the country states it supposedly believes. I say supposedly because sometimes they have something, but they're trying to be sneaky with it anyways. And you have to look at to like, is that actually compatible with it? And those things are supposed to also help be like written proofs to kind of keep the systems in check. Like, look, this is what we're saying we're supposed to be doing, and we're clearly violating this. And so you would have to look at each of them, and I would argue you would see that in large portion, you would just see that Islam does not really fit into those. It violates them unless they're very open to it, and therefore they're like, yeah, come tax the people and do the jizya and therefore enforce this one religion type of thing, which some countries let. And by let, I mean they've been taken over by Islam anyway. So you look like you have a thought.
I do. It's not. It's some. All it is, but it is not related to this. So.
Well, now we have to know because it is related, sort of.
Well, okay, so I was thinking about the First Amendment and violations therein, and I came to the realization just now that the FACE Act is somewhat of an amendment violation. For those who don't know, the FACE Act, I can't remember what the acronym is actually for. But it's an act to prevent people from disturbing religious services, but also to prevent people from basically protesting outside of abortion clinics.
Freedom
Really,
of
that's
access to clinic and entrance.
Thank you. Yeah. So they will. That's basically you can't impede anybody going into an abortion mill. And by that, it doesn't even necessarily mean physically impede. It could just be you're not allowed to stand outside with signs. Because that's how it's been used, right? The Biden DOJ less than 5 years ago was prosecuting people for standing outside of abortion mills with signs. So I was thinking about that. I was like, that's kind of a First Amendment violation, right? Because you then have to say that there is a constitutional right to the abortion mill, right? Accessing that. However, with the Dobbs decision, we know that there is no federal constitutionary, what's the word I'm looking for? There's nothing in the Constitution that protects abortion, right? Legal access to abortion. There's not. Right now, states, that's a Ninth Amendment issue more so. But there's nothing in the Constitution that protects abortion, right? That's what the Dobbs decision was. Ergo, there's nothing to prevent the Supreme Court from saying that, hey, the FACE Act is unconstitutional. So that was my thought of like, wonder if somebody could bring that to them and say, hey, now that there's no longer a quote unquote right to abortion in the Constitution, which there obviously never was, maybe we can look at making this illegal. Because it just on no pun intended, just at face value, it seems like the act is unconstitutional, and that it prevents peaceful assembly. Sorry, that's just I was thinking about that, and I was like, wonder if that could be a thing.
There you go. There's your. There you have an Ecclesia project you could do right there. Of sort.
Would that be an Ecclesia project? I feel like it's more political than church based.
I mean, the church has to have thoughts on it.
Oh, I have lots of thoughts about abortion, but
Oh, then you can, decide if that's going to be Apologia or an Ecclesia, if it's going to be a polemic, over to say here's how the church should respond type of thing. Not that it can't be both.
It would definitely be an Ecclesia thing, because I'm not attacking. Well, unless we're talking about the quote unquote Church of Satan, there's no official religion practicing abortion as any kind of ritual.
Polemic strictly religious?
Well, I think our intention is more so religious polemic, no?
Any false thought teaching.
Okay, interesting. All right.
Because, because atheists, in a sense, aren't religion, depending on how you want to define religion, but yet we still speak out against their ideas.
Sure, but their ideas are more so in line with religion. This would be more of a political.
Are some political ideas not religious?
They definitely are. And I think obviously you can have that conversation of, especially with this issue, given that we're talking about the destruction of image bearers of God and
it's an issue of morality.
Life. And it's an issue of morality. So there definitely is a conversation there to be had for it to be religious. And I do think it's a religious issue. Just generally, the people who support it aren't going to want to talk about it on religious grounds.
And therefore, you don't have to talk on religious grounds, because a polemic doesn't have to be strictly a.
No, I know. I agree. I guess I'm wondering, and this is more of a conversation for us to have after the stream, maybe. But
too late. We're already here.
I'm wondering what more is the nature of the polemic that we're looking for, because I was under the impression it was pretty strictly religious polemics.
Here, I'll say this for everyone so they know about all the channels. Graphai is effectively Bible study and theology explorations. Ecclesia is looking at church history, denomination stuff. We haven't really gotten to denomination stuff yet. We've done more church history. And then our work through podcast was just kind of like looking at different things that church has been talking about for the past forever. Calls to Defend Regular is focused more on doing apologetics and then being the primary housing and streaming platform. Apologia is originally a Clips channel and still pretty much is for our apologetic stuff, but all of their purpose is to be a housing spot for where there can be critiquing of false ideas. Lately, it has been focused more on religion, just because that has been a lot more of the topics, like Islam and stuff. However, it is a Call to Defend is more the apologetics side, mostly in terms of our videos that are posted. And then it's like we had a video that came out last week about how to respond to a certain question. Apologia, even though it's called Apologia and it probably should be called Polemic, is all you bad ideas out there. Time to bury you, and go with that, because we need to be done with this thought. And so it has been focused on religious lately, but it is not strictly on that. So anyways, back to the video.
The First Amendment of the U.S. Constitution allows for religion. It would be a clear violation of the Free Exercise Clause to force Jews and Christians to pay an humiliating additional tax because of our religious choice. But Islam demands that Muslims create societies where certain people are discriminated against based on their religion, and specifically for rejecting Islam. This alone is enough to point out that Islam is incompatible with our Constitution and values, but I have more time, so I'll continue. In Surah 489, we read, "They wish you would disbelieve as they have disbelieved, so you may be alike. So do not take them as allies unless they immigrate in the cause of Allah. But if they turn away, then seize them and kill them wherever you find them. And do not take any of them as allies or helpers." Now, Islamic commentators of the Sunni tradition have noted this refers to people who convert to Islam, but then return to their pagan ways. The Quran commands that they are to be killed for changing their religion. In Sahih al-Bukhari, which is considered to be the most authentic hadith collection for Sunni Muslims, who make up 80 to 90% of Muslims worldwide, we read that apostates are to be killed for leaving Islam. You can find.
I think that right there is another issue. So we talked about the tax issue. The fact that, okay, the jizya issue, but they also have to kill the infidels, kill those who are apostates, those who revert back. Again, he's saying in context mostly of their pagan religions, but there have been some people who have tried to argue that should be the same of going back to Christianity and Judaism. Some people, I don't know if it's like, I don't remember if it's like a widespread agreement amongst Muslims, but at least on like different platforms that I've seen, some people do push for that too. But that again, just purely from a Bill of Rights issue, violates it entirely, because not only are you trying to tax and isolate / humiliate Christians and Jews, now you're saying that anyone who kind of like leaves and apostatizes has got to die. There is no freedom in anything in that regard. That is in complete and total like entrapment of a certain belief. And let's say it was proven to be false, you still can't, if Sharia law is what's running it, you may find to be false, but you can't escape it, which is why there's so many people who have like are underground people who have converted away, but they hide as if they are still Muslim, or they're just in plain hiding because they can't show their face or else they will be killed. Like, that is what their text tells them to do. That is not at all compatible with the United States in the slightest.
No, not at all.
We say that you don't kill each other. That's not compatible with Christianity. That's not compatible with United States, which has a lot of Christianity in it when it was founded. And the idea is like, no, as Caleb said, the image bearers of God, all people, regardless of the religion, they're all still in the image of God. They should be loved. They should be reached with the gospel. Their rights should be protected. Muslims, who, interestingly enough, latch onto our texts, but also say they're corrupted, but also their text affirms them, therefore they latched onto them. At least according to the Quran, which latches onto the Torah, says that all human beings are image bearers, and therefore they don't actually. That's another thing that the Quran in practice contradicts, because, or at least is now trying to redefine what that is, because you do find with the Israelites who face consequences for worshiping other gods, but they're also in a covenant for and that's why like the other nations are just wiped out for believing the other gods, like that, not like automatically. Like they might get wiped out or attacked or judged due to like certain practices they do, like child sacrifices and stuff like that, but or like how they treat Israel or how they treat other people. But in general, it's not like, oh, you worship this God, therefore God's gonna now burn you and destroy you. Whereas Islam's like, convert them, and if they don't, or if they do and then they return, they're dead. There is no freedom of critical thinking at all in there either, which they again they claim the Injil, and the Injil teaches, at least what the actual Injil is, teaches that you're to love the Lord your God with all your hearts, soul, mind, and strength, which quotes from the Shema. But I think it's Matthew. I never remember. I just need to look it up and just start remembering at this point. It's either Matthew or Mark. One does the 3, one does the 4. And the only reason the one does the 4 is because it's including the Greek thinking of the mind and the heart being separated. Whereas in the other one, it's with the Jewish mind and thought that the heart and mind are both the it's gonna sound new agey, the inner person. And that's just like the entirety of your being, that is your person, that is within, like your thoughts and your feelings are all one thing. They're not like these two distinct things that we try to separate them out to be today, or like Greeks do. But that's not saying that that's wrong to do that. But one is catching that piece because it's recognizing that as a thought going around, and no one's going and saying, let's bring up some Jewish point right here. And the idea is that you're to actually be critically thinking. The Bible actually invites you to critically think. In fact, it is so much of it is wisdom text, wisdom literature, which means it's forcing you to think. And Islam is like, submit, don't think, just do, or you die. Or Muhammad takes your wife.
And then you die.
Then you die. Or get imprisoned. Wait, what happened to his son? It was, was it just taking his wife? Was it imprisonment too? No.
You're talking about Zainab?
Yeah.
And
where he took his wife.
Ali. Yeah, he just took his wife.
Okay, I thought something else happened to him. I can't remember what it was.
This in Bukhari 6899, 6922, 6923, and 6930, among many other authentic hadith. The Shia have similar rulings, which is why leaving Islam is punishable by death in Iran. This is a clear violation of the First Amendment as well. Ordering the execution of one for leaving Islam is a violation of religious freedom. Now, I'm not saying all Muslims think this way. Many do not. But again, we're not asking if Muslims can live in the U.S. or adopt U.S. beliefs. We are asking if what Islam teaches is compatible with the Constitution. It clearly is not. Islam does not have religious freedom as understood by U.S. law. The 13th Amendment abolished slavery, but in Islam, slavery is explicitly permitted. In fact, the historian Seymour Dresker documents in his book on abolition that when British abolitionists went to an island off the coast of Morocco to try and end slavery, the British governor promptly informed them that would not be happening, as abolishing slavery was against their religion.
There was so much more I could have said on that. Like when, like,
No, that's an interesting direction to go too.
Yes. 13th Amendment violations.
Pulling it up. Here we go. Section 1, Section 2. All right, so Section 1. Neither slavery nor involuntary servitude, except as a punishment for crime, whereof the parties shall have been duly convicted, shall exist with the United States or any place subject to their jurisdiction. Section 2, Congress shall have power to enforce this article by appropriate legislation. Caleb, do you have political thoughts you want to exercise with this?
On the 13th Amendment, I actually don't love this argument from Mike Jones because there's not necessarily, to my memory, there's nothing in the Quran or Hadith. I still need to come up with a name for the Hadith. The Quran or Hadith which explicitly commands the taking of slaves. I might be wrong about that. It's been a hot second, right? I haven't looked at this since March, so I might be forgetting something.
You're off
Now,
your rocker.
There are, I'm sorry?
You're off your rocker.
Oh, there are?
No, you're off your rocker.
Oh, yeah, I get you.
Before I could say something, you just like give me the surah ready to go.
What? You lost me.
I said before I could say something and you could give me the surah.
Oh, yeah. Well, no, I know, but so it's a little different for somebody like making a quote. Like usually if somebody like quotes something, I can tell you where it's from. It's different when I'm trying to be like, I gotta search this book by memory because I don't freaking know where my Quran is. It's somewhere. Probably on my bookshelf, but I have 3 bookshelves and I don't know which one it's on.
Well, I mean, you did tear pages out.
I did. I don't think any necessarily containing what I'd be looking for, but there are passages talking about owning slaves, but I don't think there's any explicit command to take slaves. Like there's not, and if you find the unbeliever, make slaves of them, right? Like I don't think that's in there. So while the Barbary pirates can, and the Arabs actually, because he's talking about the British incursion. So, 1833 British law, I don't think has any actual contradiction with the Quran. So the Arabs can say all they like, it's a part of our religion. Perhaps they consider it as such. I would say that's probably a later development. I don't think that's in the original material.
I'm not finding anything on like commands. You do find like its examples of its allowance.
Oh, for sure. Right. Muhammad's one of the biggest slavers in history.
Now, just to know what someone can say, someone can like try and clap back and say, "Oh, look, your Bible accepts it too." And it's like, well, hold on. There's a difference in context though, and like how they're like treated. Philemon.
Yeah, right. Yeah, Philemon. I'm actually wondering if. Okay, so I think there's an angle which you can argue this for.
Okay.
And I think it's going to come from An-Nisa, in which I believe it's An-Nisa, where you are permitted to take slaves of women you have captured who either are unmarried or whose husbands were killed in combat.
Interesting.
Now that's more of an interesting idea, because if it's saying you are permitted to take slaves from combat, that wouldn't be, or from those who were captured in combat but did not participate in the combat, presumably, right? Presumably the women would not have taken part. I wonder if that would be a violation, right? Because can you pull up the amendment again, please?
Yeah.
I'm fairly confident in the wording, but I just want to double check that it's no slavery nor involuntary service. Oh, there it is. Neither slavery nor involuntary servitude, except as a punishment for a crime whereof the party shall have been duly convicted, shall exist within the United States. So right there, shall exist within it. Right. So Islam to this day has no parameters for the removal or abolition of slavery, and it's still practiced in the Islamic world today. So I think you can make an argument. I believe it's from An-Nisa. I might be wrong, but I think you could make an argument from there that it's in violation of the 13th Amendment.
Interesting.
Actually, interesting. If you go down to the 15th Amendment, I think that could also be a violation.
Sure.
Because 15th Amendment is the right of the citizens of the United States to vote shall not be denied or abridged by the United States or by any state on account of race, color, or previous condition of servitude. So would Christians be allowed to vote in the Islamic world?
Probably not.
Probably not. Right now, it doesn't explicitly say on account of race, color, or previous condition of servitude, but previous condition of servitude would count those subject to the government, i.e. the jizya. So if Christians were not allowed to vote in this government, that would be a violation of the 15th Amendment.
We got a comment here. Ex-Jehovah Witness here. Love it.
Welcome.
Love to have you if you're still here. Would love to kind of hear your experience, actually. So join our Discord.
We actually have had ex-JWs in there, so you would not be our first.
Speaking of which, I got to reach out to Joan, that guy.
Yeah.
Anyways, let's go back to this. So you said that this is not your favorite argument, like not a great argument that he's made, but
unless we're going
based on
from unless we're going from that one ayat that I'm blanking on right now, no, I would not say this is a great argument.
Like British abolitionists abolished slavery, and then they're like, we gotta do this everywhere.
Oh.
They were going.
I was wondering why he was talking, but the video was playing. It's like, oh, because he's talking in the bottom corner. Because I forgot that he was done at that point. Okay, I think if I remember correctly, that is all of the clips they have for us right now, because they're still waiting to release the rest of them. Also, because if you look right here, on David Wood's lap is a laptop. He was, during the stream, sending him the clips to then pull up during the stream. So, when you're doing that midstream, you can get so many up.
Yeah.
But, you spent a little more time than I have looking at Islam. Are there other, I'm sure there are, but are there other hadith or texts that kind of fire off and be like, to the top of your memory, that's like, this is in violation of the Bill of Rights, Constitution?
Yes, actually, if you could pull up, it's going to be a lot of Bill of Rights, right? Because the Constitution is just the establishment of the government,
sure,
and rules and regulations therein. Which I guess I'd have to actually look at the Constitution again to see off the top of my head. I'd say maybe Articles 2 and 4 could cause problems for them, but again, I'd really have to dive in and see if there are any real issues there.
Yeah.
I am not a constitutional lawyer by day, so Yeah, but I think the Third Amendment could be a little bit of a problem.
Okay, let me get that up.
Actually, I'm thinking third, fourth, and eighth would probably be.
I gotta scroll. All right. So you're thinking third.
Yes.
Come on.
Oh, and definitely the 19th Amendment. I do not think women are going to be voting in Islam. Just going out on a limb there and saying that what the Quran itself calls those who are deficient in mind are going to be allowed to vote. Again, not my words. That's the Quran's. All right. So the Third Amendment, no soldier shall in time of peace be quartered in any house without the consent of the owner, nor in time of war, but in a manner to be prescribed by law. So for those who don't know how Momo died, he basically took over he killed a Jewish woman's entire family and was in her house when she then offers to cook him a meal, right? So he's already in her house. She's forced to give him quarter. And then she's like, hey, I wonder if I can poison this guy. And Muhammad, in the stupidest move you can possibly think of, goes ahead and eats a meal of the woman whose family he just killed. So I mean, like, dude, that is some 3-head thinking right there. That's not even 3-head. That's 2-head. Like, you just butchered her entire family. And your next thought is, oh, wow, she offered to cook me food. Isn't that nice? Like, that is going to be the most poisoned. Case in point, one of Muhammad's followers starts eating it before him and says that he can taste the poison. But then he sees Muhammad take a bite and he's like, well, I guess it's fine then. And so he keeps eating. He eats too much. He dies. And then Muhammad bites it, eats it, like a little bit of it, notices that it's poison and goes, guys, stop. Allah has revealed that this is poison to me. It's like, really? Allah did that? Okay. And then a couple of years later, he ends up dying from the effects of the poison. So, and he's the one that says, it's because I ate the poison. That's why I'm dying. So, really stupid way to die. Hilarious. Like, the song Dumb Ways to Die was made about that moment. That's not true, but it should be. But he is forcing quarter upon her in that moment. Now, I don't know that here's a problem. I don't know that there's any explicit command to seize property or to be given quarter, but given the command to go out and to fight and to kill and to loot and plunder, I can't imagine that they're going to be doing that without seizing property and without forcing themselves into homes.
Remind me that they Muhammad is the example of which to live by.
Correct.
So
if he's the standard of conduct, that doesn't necessarily mean you have to do everything that he does, though.
I'm saying, like, if he's done it, then it's
A-okay. Yeah.
It's A-okay. Therefore, if he did that, then it's potentially okay for them to do that as well.
Not potentially, it is.
Which is where the violation comes in.
Yes. Yeah.
All right, you mentioned
Muhammad is a walking Bill of Rights contradiction. Or violation, I should say.
The 5th, I think you said?
No, I said 3rd, 4th, 8th.
3rd, 4th. Okay.
The fourth, I kind of already covered the 4th with search and seizure. Sorry,
I wanted to read it. Excessive bail should not be required, nor excessive fines imposed, nor cruel and unusual punishments inflicted.
Yeah. So the Quran famously has the passage in which you can beat your wife if you think she is cheating on you. Not if you know she is, not if you catch her in the act, which that in itself would not be great. But if you think she is, then you may strike her.
I'm just gonna get that up.
I'm guessing, yeah, you're looking for it.
24.
Yeah. So is that the bees? No, 24
what was
isn't
that?
the
Sorry?
bees. There's one that's literally just the title in Arabic is the bees.
Oh, no, this one.
Yeah, no.
And those who accuse their wives of adultery but have no witness except themselves, the accuser must testify, swearing 4 times by Allah that he is telling the truth, and a 5th oath that Allah may condemn him if he is lying. For her to be spared the punishment, she must swear 4 times by Allah that she is telling a lie, and a 5th oath that Allah may be displeased with her if he is telling the truth. Is that the right one?
I don't
What do you
believe
think?
so.
Which was the one
Hang
you
on.
were thinking of?
Let me see if I can find it.
This is the first one that popped up. It might be. Because this is one suspected cheating. Oh, wait. Nope, this is if you fail to produce 4 witnesses. Here, I'll stop that way if you have it.
I haven't found it yet.
Aren't you just silly?
Well, here we go. Here we go. Okay, so this is I didn't find it yet, but this is clearly an article written during the era of 2003. Yeah. This is clearly an article written during the Muhammad is a feminist phase. Yeah. So the question is, I would like to know if it is correct that the Quran permits a man to beat his wife. And then he says, praise be to the mouse. And blessings and peace upon good old Momo boy. Momo the homo. We are very happy that you're reading our site, yada, 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 yada. There is nothing in the Quran that suggests a man is allowed to beat his wife. The Quran enjoins good treatment of one's wife. She is to be honored and treated kindly, right? So, like, this is clearly, and I was like, oh, okay, when was this written? Yep, 2003. Okay. Yeah, that's back when we were pretending that Momo was this great example of women's rights. Yet, guys, he married a 6-year-old. All right, let's calm down.
Therefore, he believed that she had the right to be married at a young age.
Oh, is that what we're going with?
That's what they're going with. Chaos. So the Quran thinks violence is okay.
More than okay, my guy.
That's disturbing. You be right. You be right. Was it are you sure it was a surah and not a hadith?
It might have been in the hadith. I'm thinking it might have been.
Here, you keep looking at that. I'll look up hadith.
Again, you're gonna have to bear with me. It's been oh gosh, what was it? It's been 3 months. Wow.
This is the proof. They don't know what they're talking about. Might be number 4, actually.
Here we go. I found it.
Which one?
It's Anisa. Anisa 34 or 35. Okay, so this is for a disobedient wife.
Yep, 4.
Hang on, I got it. I got it right here. Yeah, Surah 4, yeah. Men, so I'll just read this part here. Oh, wait, it's not on stage yet, is it? Now it is. Okay. Men are the protectors and maintainers of women because Allah has given the one more strength than the other, and because they support them from their means. Therefore, the righteous women are devoutly observant obedient and guard in the husband's absence what Allah would have them to guard. As to those women on whose part you fear disloyalty and ill conduct, fear it, not have evidence of it, you're afraid it's happening.
Why are you gay?
Admonish them first, then refuse to share their beds, and finally beat them. And they add lightly in parentheses. The Arabic doesn't say lightly. Notice they have to put lightly in the parentheses. They're adding that in.
Yeah.
It just says to beat them.
Let's see. Does yours have the Arabic? So I can pull it up over here.
No.
Let's see. It's 434, correct?
Yes. Surah An-Nisa, ayat 35. I got it here.
I already have it here.
Too late.
Well, mine's on the screen.
Oh,
Send arbiter of family. Is it 35 or 34? I thought you said 34 before, but I said 35.
it might be 34. I don't know where that verse break was. So, yes,
discipline them gently.
Gently.
The footnote here.
Okay, great.
Disciplining one's wife gently is the final resort. The earliest commentators understood that this was to be light enough to not leave a mark, should be done with nothing bigger than a toothed stick. What? And should not be on the face. Prophet Muhammad said,
stick?
Nothing bigger than a tooth stick.
I don't know what a tooth stick is.
Probably like a toothpick, maybe. And should not be, I mean, you can look at that up if you want. And should not be on the face. Prophet Muhammad said to his companions, do not beat the female servants of Allah. He said that honorable husbands do not beat their wives, and he himself will never hit a woman or a servant. If a woman feels her husband is ill-behaved, then she can get help from her guardian or seek deliverance. Now, this is 34. So we're looking at here, discipline them gently.
Yeah, hang on, Josh. Yeah, I was just going to say, scroll up to the Arabic. The word gently is not in there.
Nope. I was like, that's
second
line.
It's right at the end of the second line. Nope, other end.
That's right. It's like Hebrew.
Yeah, it's like Hebrew. And forsake them. Nope. Forsake them. It's going to be.
There you go.
Finally,
I was right.
them.
It is the bottom line.
Oh, it's the second one on my screen.
Finally strike
Thank
them.
you for that.
You're welcome.
And then next, check the next word. Hang on, check the next word because let's make sure it's not gently.
Then.
Oh, nope, it's not. Start of a new sentence. Beat them gently is not in there. The word gently is not there. Again, that's awful, but thank you.
You're welcome. I got you. Let's see. Did they give us any more information on this?
So that would be a violation of not only, domestic violence laws, but it would be a violation of the Eighth Amendment. That is cruel and unusual punishment.
Yeah. Just in case you didn't hear it the first time.
وَاضْرِبُوهُنَّ.
We all heard it. We all hated it. So thank you.
That's a soundboard just to annoy Caleb.
You put it on the soundboard?
No, I didn't.
Oh, I was going to say, we do not need the Arabic word for beat them on our soundboard.
Strike them.
They translated it beat. I don't want to hear it. They translated it beat.
I'm talking about the interlinear says strike them. And then the other one, their Quran here says discipline them gently. Just a little love tap. Get a toothpick and go boop.
Yeah. Yeah. What is a tooth stick?
Let me look at that. Tooth stick. No, not tooth stickers. The first thing that pops up is like toothpicks, but some are a little bit bigger than others. Let's see here. Quran.
Well, size does matter here.
Okay. If this is correct, I like the one involving the Quran. Like, this might be about this big.
How do you hit someone with that? You're gonna hit them with your fist at that point, and it's gonna hurt a lot more.
Versus a toothpick, which is about yay big.
The problem, wait, hang on, back up. The problem with toothpicks. Bottom left. The problem with toothpicks. You're not curious what the problem with toothpicks is?
Not really.
I'm kind of curious. I'm kind of curious.
Oh, this is like
Hang on, back the frick up.
I was reading.
The size of meat, the size of the piece of meat in between your teeth. Do you really need a toothpick for that?
Yes.
That's like half a steak stuck between your teeth.
We use toothpicks in our daily lives, and they're useful for a lot of things. The
You
toothpick
can't see what you're looking at.
You can't?
No, it's still.
I didn't switch the other screen. There you go.
There you go. This is important research.
We use toothpicks in our daily lives, and they are useful for a lot of things. A toothpick's job is to take food particles out from teeth, and sometimes it's a substitute for actual flossing. People also tend to grab them for other things as well. For example, they are great for craft-related projects. We can say firsthand, those things are not sturdy. They can get lost very quickly and tend to break easily, especially when we use them for the fine point tip. Those are the first to go. Now, can you imagine the tip breaking in your mouth or getting lodged in your gums? Trust us, it's a very uncomfortable experience. If a piece of the toothpick breaks off,
Okay, I think we got the point.
No, I got this entire just a couple paragraphs to read through.
We're not reading the rest of this article.
If a piece of the toothpick breaks off, try and get another set of eyes to help you find it, because those pieces can be very hard to dislodge. Those broken pieces can quickly cause inflammation and will cause damage the longer they are left inside. Remember, if you are unable to remove the broken pieces, contact us. We're here to help judgment-free. Toothpicks can also cause infections in the mouth. If there's a time where we just happen to jab our gum or even accidentally poke an area of our mouth and it bleeds, there's a problem. Leaving an open wound untreated is leaving the mouth susceptible to infection and bacteria. Bacteria can be from outside elements or even from toothpick itself. Did you know that the
I could be
toothpicks
finishing my presentation right now.
Did you know that the toothpicks can cause havoc on your existing dental work? They are capable of damaging veneers, Invisalign buttons, bonding, and even unpending fillings. If we are rough to use our toothpicks, often all of this is bound to happen and is simply put, just not worth saving those few minutes first flossing and brushing teeth instead. The moral of the story, toothpicks, even given their name, should not be the go-to for teeth. Toothpicks are usually useful for dislodge food particles from between our teeth and will, while they do come in handy, they are not designed for cleaning teeth, especially along the gum lines. Here are some alternatives to use toothpicks. And okay. So pretty much, guys, don't
stop there.
Fine, I'll read it. Floss. Dental floss is the most frequent between the teeth. It should be used gently, should not be forced. Floss is also great to use under dental work and along our gum lines. Flossers with a handle. These are handy for traveling. To use caution, as many have a tempting toothpicker at the other end. Water pick. A water pick is a device that aims a small stream of pulsating water at teeth, like floss, to help remove food particles from teeth. They are also great at helping to reduce bleeding and gum disease. Anyone who wishes to get their mouth cleaner will enjoy adding the water pick to their daily oral health routine. Any of these options are miles above using a toothpick. Avoid infections, damage, and unnecessary dental visits. Keep the toothpicks for craft cleaning out crevices and unclogging tiny holes only.
I'm going to unclog your tiny hole.
That was pretty gay of you.
Gay! If we weren't on stream right now, I'd be flashing fingers, man.
Brother,
Anyways.
By the way, I never wanted you to click on that link. I was just kind of curious about the photo. I didn't care about the link underneath it. So I'm glad we could go. I'm glad we could spend 4 minutes of
not even 4
time
minutes.
That you began reading at 1:20. I looked
1:20. I read 8 hours ago.
An hour and 20 minutes on the live stream, you dongus.
That's when you say an hour 20, not 120.
Honestly, it feels like you began reading 8 hours ago.
2 hours later.
Yeah.
Anyways, getting back to the actual point, I think it's really interesting that these conversations are starting to happen within DC, which kind of shows the kind of thoughts that are being had right now, within that central point of this country, where a lot of these decisions can be made, unfortunately or fortunately, depending on the context, what the decision is. But the fact that this is a conversation is being had and it was within governmental buildings, I think it's a good sign that they are still allowing this kind of conversation and is not automatically just being pushed through what some people want it to be. Some people really kind of want to push
the UK.
through. Yeah, or New York is trying to push for it, or has been more and more. And a lot of other people are trying to push for it. And the fact that in DC, at least, they're housing these kind of conversations, and they're bringing out people who are known for speaking out against it. And so if you're also having it out there, for a fact that those guys are definitely walking around DC and also talking to Muslims on the streets as well, because that's just what they do. IP, David Wood, and those guys, they're going to be trying to share the gospel with them. And so I think that's just really, really important that those conversations are still happening. That, I think sometimes we kind of get really hooked into all the problems and the certain politics we don't like, or oh, it's too far gone. It's no, first off, things aren't really too far gone. And secondly, you have this very fact that conversations are being had. The problem is that people know how certain people respond to it, so they have to keep it quiet. Hence why they were told not to promote this until after it happened. Which that should be more of okay, how can we help facilitate these kind of conversations in our country where we have the freedom to talk about these things, and not have to be worried about terrorist attacks or people who are going to be protesting, but they're really doing things that are beyond protesting, more rioting.
Fiery but mostly peaceful protests.
Yeah.
Never not funny.
But I think those kind of conversations, the fact that they're happening, I think is a good, from the perspective of the country, is a good thing to be seeing, because that means that it's not like people are just going to be accepting these things blindly. They're actually letting these conversations being facilitated. Now it is 9:30. Kel, I don't know if you have other thoughts you want to kind of contribute regarding that specific topic, or if you want to switch over towards Pride Month briefly.
Well, I was thinking maybe we kick Pride Month to next week for the last stream of June, and then that Thursday we'll do the last JW stream and call it there, because my spine is about ready to eject through my tailbone. So I'm using my wife's corn bag right now. You know what? I did ask you when we would ever use that, and it seems like you found a use.
I found use for all of them.
Oh.
That's what your spine feels like right now.
Yes. Yes, it feels like, honestly, probably like Patrick's did, being shoved through the trombone. Just like that.
Okay, so
I'm using my wife's corn bag right now. So,
what?
That's the point we're at. Yes, I am using my wife's corn bag.
She has a corn bag?
Do you not know what a corn bag is?
No.
Really?
never used.
Oh, dude, corn bags are life changing. My wife has like 3 of them. This is the best one.
The corn bag.
Okay, so a corn bag is exactly what it sounds like, right? Like
Bag of
literally what it
corn.
sounds like. Here's some ASMR. Yes, it is a bag of corn that you toss in the microwave and it acts like a heating pad.
Gotcha.
Yeah,
Does it
but
pop
it's
into
they
popcorn?
do it. I was gonna say they do it in a way so it doesn't turn into popcorn. I don't know how they do it. I don't know if you do something special to popcorn or do something special to the corn bag, but either way, like
Either way,
either way, it's just literally a bag of corn inside of a sleeve.
do you have to add more corn to it at some point, or
No, toss it in the microwave for like. You toss it in the microwave for like 1.5 to 2 minutes, and it acts as a heating pad for like the next hour. So when I said BRB in 2 minutes, that's what I was doing. I was getting this.
Oh, that makes more sense now.
It's honestly the only thing that's gotten me through this stream.
Not the toothpick.
No.
You sure
That
about
honestly
that?
was more excruciating than my spine.
Well, you know what? That means I took your mind off the pain. So really, it was helpful.
And if you want to be helpful, you should like and subscribe to the video. Hit that notification bell. It helps us out a ton. And let us know what you thought down in the comments below. Do you think there is a constitutional argument for Islam in the West? If so, I would love to hear it. But I'm quite interested in what your thoughts would be. We really do appreciate you tuning in. We appreciate you spending your time to think through these things with us. It's somewhat of a daunting topic as you're trying to tackle two what seem to be and what really are very different worlds, right? Western politics versus Islamic religion. They are so different and I would argue incompatible. So it certainly can be somewhat of a challenge to get all of this together and to really think through it. So we really do appreciate you guys tuning in. And with all that said, God willing, we will see you in the next one. Peace.
Yeah. Counseling session. Weighing every word like gold. From the manger to the throne, same person, not a switch, not a mask, that's certain. One Lord, one face, one name, Son of God, Son of Man, unchanged. Perfect in divinity, say that. Perfect in humanity, play back. True God, true man, one Christ, not a myth, not half, full life, begotten 4 ages, blazing, born in time from a virgin, amazing, like us in all things. That's flesh, sin apart though, clean breath, same person they followed in Galilee. Same person who spoke in eternity. Not a blend, not a phase, not parts, one hypostasis, one heart. 2 natures, one Christ, one Lord, unmixed, unchanged in the light of his glory. Yeah, undivided, unseparated, hold tight, one person, one story. 2 natures, one Christ, say it. God and man in a holy harmony. What he is, what he became, still the same through the ages of ages. Amen. They try to pull him apart, we won't. Make him only a prophet, he don't fit inside those boxes you draw. He's the word that fulfills every law. Not confused like colors that smear, not split like friends disappear. Distinct what is his as a man, and what is his as I am. He got hungry, he slept, he wept, yet the universe held as he stepped. He was nailed, he bled, he died, yet the author of life still alive. So we speak what the elders confess. From the west and the east, one faith, one breath. Guard the mystery, keep that flame. Same Jesus, yesterday, today. 2 natures, one Christ, one Lord, unmixed, unchanged in the light of his glory. Yeah, undivided, unseparated. Yeah, one person, one story. 2 natures, one Christ. Say King. God and man in a holy Not another savior on the shelf. He bridges God to us to himself. If he ain't God, we're still in chains. If he ain't man, he can't feel our pain. So I rest in the creed they wrote. Every careful phrase, every note. Hold that line, don't twist, don't drift. In this one Lord, all things fit. Two natures, one